Hey everyone, welcome back to Absolutely. My name is Benny, that is Hassan, and that is Sal. And today we're going to talk about the much requested, so many of you won't leave us alone, please talk about Secret Invasion. Look, we've just been busy the last 3 weeks. That's literally all it is. We intended to watch this. The problem is, it's so boring, no one wants to talk about it.
Oh, outrage.
Dude, people are going to be very upset about that. But
No, okay.
Oh my God, man, I wanted to like it. I wanted to be really into it.
You guys
Let's
have
kick it off
complained about
initially
having subtlety and nuance in your superhero stuff. Every video I've ever seen, the first time it happens, you guys think it's boring?
This is literally the Andor of the Marvel Universe.
I've seen that reference.
I hope not.
Okay, so let's
really
kick it
hope
off with, we've watched 3 episodes. Let's give our overarching thoughts, and then we're just going to kind of run through the 3, like kind of going over what we're going to talk about, stuff like that.
Yeah.
So I'll kick it off. My initial thoughts on this, I actually like it. I like the subtleness. I like the slow pacing. I like the slow burn. Okay.
Yeah.
I have 2 major complaints to it though. It's going back to the Disney problem that I've had, and we can talk about this more in depth when we get to everyone's thoughts, but where Disney wants you to care about things that I don't care about. And like, I know a small number of people really loved Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. They really love the nuanced, like Black Widow secret spy stuff. I'm not watching the MCU for that. I'm watching the MCU for superheroes. If I want to watch spy thrillers, there's much better movies in
There are other networks, there are other shows that do it better.
Yeah, I mean, even if you want to just pull off some top tier stuff like everyone loves to do Blockbuster, like honestly, the spy thriller stuff, Mission Impossible, James Bond, and if you really just want to go like crazy with it, Fast and the Furious.
Also,
I mean,
like
they do purport to be secret agents sometimes.
Also, you roped S.H.I.E.L.D. into that. S.H.I.E.L.D. is a superhero show. S.H.I.E.L.D. was considerably more interesting.
They
They're
do that. They started bringing in powers and stuff like that in the later
I mean,
seasons.
like we're talking like by midway through season 1, it is never a spy show again. It is like
the point I'm making.
it's like they're like
Agents
in a
show.
war.
Right, but the point I'm making with the Agents of the S.H.I.E.L.D. though is they did try initially to just make it a spy show.
They
set
did.
in a world.
They did. Yeah.
Yeah, they did. They did it to set the world up, and then they were like, "We're spies, but we're gonna fight a war."
Because this goes all the way back to when the video game Marvel Strike Force came out for phones, and when they launched, they didn't have superheroes in it really. There was like the top tier MCU guys, but they wanted you to recruit S.H.I.E.L.D. agents.
Like anyone
That
was
sounds
gonna do
awful.
that.
I love it.
Right. Well, and like my argument then was like, why am I supposed to care about S.H.I.E.L.D. Medic number 2? And they did the same thing with the Star Wars version of that, which I think it's I don't remember the name of it now, but it's like Heroes of Galaxy, something like that. But they did the same thing where it's like the big Jedis, we're going to do very few of them. And what's actually in here is Rebel Alliance Medic 1. Like Disney has been trying for both of these franchises to branch them out to make you care about the world.
Yes.
And I want to talk about, we're going to go into Secret Invasion, changing the subtleties and changing the thing, because I do enjoy this show. But my final thoughts before we move into the full big discussions on all of it is I feel like we need a street level superhero. Don't give me superpowers. Give me a street level, like Winter Soldier, Falcon, somebody like that.
Absolutely.
And I do feel like it's stretched way the fuck out. Like,
Yes.
way out.
Absolutely. No, I like this show too. I enjoy it.
Yeah.
Like I enjoy every episode I've watched. The problem is it should have been a movie.
I feel like it could have worked as a 2-hour movie with a cameo or 2.
Because anyone's complaints about like the pacing would be gone with a movie, because the movie would be 120 minutes at most, right? So you got that. If it's a movie, you'd have more movie people who would have wanted to be in it, / would have probably been tapped to be in it.
Yeah.
So you would solve the cameo problem, because Secret Invasion, these guys can be anything. The whole enjoyment of it is that they become characters we did that twice.
Yeah.
And was all mostly in the first episode. So it's just it should have been a movie.
Hassan, what are your initial thoughts? And then we're going to deep dive into all the big points.
I'm in relatively the same boat. The pacing is just, it feels really, really stretched. I feel insane when I'm watching it a little bit, because I don't think I've watched anything like it in a long time, but it's just like hushed tone conversations for like 3 episodes straight with very minimal reveals. But the reveals are about new characters and new things and stuff that I don't care about, which feels like a weird thing for a project that is built on the backbone of an established universe. So it feels weird that like all the reveals are, Gravik. I don't know I just
don't.
met him. I
Yeah.
don't care about him.
I know Talos.
like,
That is
why-
it when it comes to the scroll.
You
army.
could have, if you introduced Gravik as like an older MCU villain, like a Skrull pretending to be like I don't know. I couldn't tell you who. I don't know who. Alexander Pierce from
Right.
Winter Soldier, like anybody old to bring back some resonance, to showcase some kind of manipulation, right? Anything. Instead, it's just this dude.
Yeah.
It's like, oh yeah, I'm real
What-
scary.
what-
I'm British.
What if they had introduced Gravik and they reveal Gravik was Captain Marvel or Winter Soldier? He was somebody that you wouldn't expect right at first, and then shifts into the new guy.
Yeah.
So because that would have left you with like you get the quick cameo. We get to see that maybe they could have been one of the street level superheroes, something like that. We get
Mhm.
that quick cameo. Then we roll into the new cast and like, oh, he's back in hiding. And then you, because then we're also play into the one thing that I have a problem with, where Nick Fury's excuse is, I don't trust anyone, so I'm not going to talk to any of the Avengers, but I am going to go talk to all my old spy buddies who are in political positions. Wait,
Yeah.
so we're not going to make one
probably
phone call.
Skrulls. Like,
Yeah, you're not going to
I-
make one phone call to any superhero
no.
to check in with them.
We don't even
They should not
establish
have
that
done
they
that.
could have been super. We don't even establish that the superheroes could be Skrulls. Like it's not like Nick Fury's like, oh my god, the only thing that I seem to really care about, the creation of the Avengers, because he literally says in one of the episodes, like that was the greatest gift that could have ever been given to me. Could have been tarnished by this secret invasion. Like we don't even do that. Like no, I can't call Rhodey. I can't call. Well, he does call Rhodey, but like
Right.
even Rhodey is interesting in this.
Rhodey's
but like
a Skrull, but yeah,
probably
100%.
He's going to be our superhero that turns into a scroll. I'm wondering if we're going to
Oh.
see the suit,
No.
or if it's going to be the very last episode. The scroll.
I mean, the
gets
suit's
in the
done.
suit.
They could use the suit. The suit is an easy fit. Like it's an easy.
Yeah, I mean,
like,
they have the
transfer.
effect for it already. I
Exactly.
just think that I don't know, man. I'm in the same boat as you guys. Like it feels really like something about it feels off base. Also, I think that they did not spend enough time building a relationship between Fury and Ben Mendelsohn and Captain Marvel or whatever. Like you needed a project in between, or you needed further acknowledgments earlier on in the MCU of this 90s. Back in the 90s, I met a bunch of aliens. I'm gonna help them find a planet. It's like, what? Okay. But you didn't do this for how many years, man?
Right, well,
Right.
I agree with
Yeah.
you on that one, because that's like that appears to be the like I get it. The scroll is supposed to take over the planet, and that plot is out of the comics.
Yeah.
In the comics, there was no we met the Skrulls and they're friendly. They showed up angry, trying to take over the planet. That made sense because they're just an invading force.
I'm with
Well,
you.
and they lost their planet. Remember, like the other sad thing is, it would have been interesting if we wanted to, let's say, play in the expanded world that we've created because we have Fox now. If like we did get them a planet and it was eaten by Galactus,
Yeah.
like in the Secret Invasion from the comic books. So they're like, because the whole point of the comic book and really quick truncated version is that like they get radicalized because there was one religious zealot who prophesized their planet would be eaten by Galactus, which is like saying that like the sun's going to come up tomorrow, but sure. And so after it does, and a bunch of Skrulls are like displaced, they go find her and they're like, well, what else do you say? And she's like, well, that Earth is promised to us by God. The idea of like a religious zealot saying that God made Earth for the Skrulls, great idea, and kind of has some interesting like undertones in the real world, and would be really interesting to see expressed in this. In this, it's just like, well, Fury said he was going to get us a planet, but he didn't, so I'm taking this one.
Yeah.
I guess I get that, but like it's a little one-dimensional, don't you think? I mean, like, come on.
No, and
Well,
like the reveal's cool, and I think the conversation that the reveal played out in is like uncomfortable at best and very weird. And,
Yeah.
and Nick Fury is just weird in this, man.
Well,
Yeah.
I do like that they keep touching on that he is
Yeah.
acting weird.
I just feel like and this is me personally, I was ready for like episode 3 to reveal why he's this way, because I can't keep watching this. I remember I paused it right like I paused during last episode because I had to go do something real quick, and I was like, oh my god, there's 10 minutes left. The show hasn't even, but nothing's happened. And then
Yeah.
that's the issue. That's the so
Yeah.
let's focus in the discussion a little. I want to talk about the pacing first, because that's the
Yeah.
biggest problem we have, and I've seen it on the internet. The pacing.
Yes.
There's so many just long drives. And at first I was digging it. So I'm like, we're doing
yeah.
some slow burns. We're getting to know
Yeah.
Talos better. We're getting to know Nick Fury better.
Agreed.
What has happened? This is great. Episode 1, cool. Episode 2, all right, I get it. They're buddies. They don't fully agree, but Talos trusts Nick Fury. Nick Fury trusts okay.
still on
episode-
board though.
Yeah, but
There's no-
episode 3, I'm like,
I'm off.
Okay, I get it. They're buddies. They kind of
Well, like
Yeah.
episode 1 opens with probably like a really beautiful scene, like with Nick, like apologizing for the death of his wife. I
Yeah.
love that. I
Yeah.
loved the way that played out. The little like head thing that's like I guess like a scroll bonding whatever
Oh
thing
yeah,
they like
when you bond
canonize
each other, yeah.
That's great. That's super great. And then you get the reveal at the end of episode 2 of like Nick Fury's significant other, significant scroll other or whatever. And then you get to
Yeah.
episode 3 and it's like, oh, so you're going to, even though you've done this now, you're not going to explain this to us fully. You're just going to continue like the weird mystery dance and slow it down even more. It felt like they pumped the brakes even more because they gave us like a little inch. They gave us her, and then they were like, okay, now we're done giving you everything because it's a mystery.
Yeah, well, I mean, episode 3 was all about the Gaia reveal. Like Gaia
Yeah.
actually was working with her father, which we all kind of assumed at that point.
Yeah, but
Exactly what was happening. Was it a
kinda
reveal?
it's a little
Like,
sloppy.
dude, I felt the exact same way because when it happened and he called her and she moved, I'm like, wait, I thought we already knew she like that.
I
felt
thought
like
we
they were-
knew. Was that a reveal?
I felt like they treated it like it was. So I was like, oh, did I miss
Yes.
something or did I just assume?
It was a reveal for Gravik, except no, because he knew too.
Because he knew. That's
Yeah.
why like once he says out loud when the time was and what the plan was in front of her, and then like just oh my god, like there's a sequence where he goes into her room and he clearly doesn't trust her, and she knows he doesn't trust her, and he's like, "What happened to the other Skrull? Like, what's up with that?" And she's like, "I don't know."
I don't
And I'm
know.
like, this scene is a trope. It's in every spy movie. It needs to die because at that point, like she's like, okay, he may be on to me. No, he is on to you. Like he knows, you know. Like don't be a dumbass. You know he knows. Moving on. But like the fact that he sets her up and you're like, oh man, the whole thing's a setup, and then they go through with it and they do it anyway because they realized, oh my god, we're halfway through the show and nothing's happened. So
and nothing
can't-
happened.
Like we can't have them break into like the senator's house or whatever he is, general's house. or
General's house,
whatever.
yeah.
And we can't have them break into his house and have it be just full of scrolls and it's fake. Like we can't do that because then nothing will have happened for 3 episodes. So they do avert disaster, but like Gravik is like, I'm glad that happened because it revealed who you were. You knew who she was and what she was doing from the jump, man.
This guy
And
is
it's
not intimidating.
Not
I'm
at
not
all.
intimidated
Gravik's
by
not
him.
a good villain at all. Talos is
hate-
more intimidating.
Talos
is
is
these
really
villains.
intimidating this. I think
We
Talos
think-
is kind of fun in this one.
Yeah.
Ben Mendelsohn's been great.
Disney Plus has this issue with villains where the villains show up and they're like, "Hi, I'm short and scary
I'm a
because I've
woman
got
in-
some charisma," and it's just
I
like,
have
no.
magical powers in Pakistan.
Yeah,
like
right, like-
remember that one? That was
Yeah,
weird
of
too.
course, that's what I was thinking of. And I'm like, no, this is not intimidating. I'm sorry.
This is
And he
weird.
doesn't need to be like a big guy. I'm not
No.
asking for him to be like a
But,
big
like,
scary monster, but like
Something about him needs to make me scared. Like,
You know
what's
who's
he gonna do
interesting?
next?
they did this with the exact same thing, but with like a charismatic actor. And I hate to pigeonhole like his person of color versus a white actor. Nothing to do with that, but I know someone will latch onto it.
Of course.
In Moon Knight, whatever his name was, Ethan Hawke.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Where it's like, hi, I'm literally the same type of character who blah blah blah. And
Yeah.
it's just like, oh, but he's doing something with it, you know?
Yeah.
This guy's
Ethan
just
Hawke's
here. He
biggest
just shows up.
Ethan Hawke's biggest. He puts glass in his shoes. Isn't that?
Yeah, and you know that I feel like that was an Ethan Hawke idea. Like I just feel like
Yeah.
that's such an actor thing to do. But yeah, it's just the pacing is off, and the thing I really wanted to key into really quick was just the scenes that, like Benny, you were talking about, like these long scenes where they talk to each other, right?
Yeah, which started
Nothing-
great because I loved him at first.
Yeah. But nothing is derived from them. Like there is no new information. Like in a Bond movie, every scene where Bond talks to the villain, it's always going to be like subtle and fun, but also going to be intimidating, and he's going to be like threatened with death at the end of that scene. But new information is gotten in those scenes.
Yes.
These scenes are just like, yes, I know you love your daughter. Yes, I know you want this planet. Yes, I know something went wrong with you after the blip. But we've done that already. Like
Well,
I can't
they did that episode 1. So every scene
we did
following
this.
that, like it's like someone added like a little extra crumb on top of it. Oh, so like,
exactly.
but not enough to warrant another 5 to 10 minute character building.
That's why I can't wait for like the Obi-Wan Kenobi cut of this show.
Yeah.
It's
Well,
going to be like a 90 minute.
That's actually
movie.
where I think this is coming from. old Disney Plus, because when they first came out, this was the core issue with all of these shows.
Yeah.
And this screams Disney Plus launch project.
Yeah.
With the old pacing, the old thing, we're just taking a movie and stretching it out. Like all the
100%.
old stuff is what it
Do
feels
you guys think this is like a Knives Out thing where like we're gonna get some pretty hefty reveals last 2 episodes, if not last episode, that makes it so it's all spy speak. So you go back and watch the other 2, and then there's a lot more nuance to this all of a sudden. I don't know how they do it, but like in my brain, that feels like the only thing that makes sense, right?
I don't think they're going to do that. I don't think that I think that whatever you think.
There's one more person that's going to be a big revealed scroll.
Yes.
The problem is it's going to be someone that was basically introduced in this show. I know most of this cast has been like cameoed, but this is the first time a lot of them we've really gotten groundwork with.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and like, so like, I don't care. Like even Talos, if he were to betray Nick Fury, I only really have gotten attached to him in this show.
Exactly.
The other reveals have been like, oh, that's cool. He's a Skrull, and that's
he's in Spider-Man Homecoming or Far From Home.
Yeah,
exactly.
He's in Captain Marvel. That's nifty.
Yeah.
No, it's
funny.
exactly that. This show is. I think that whatever they think that they're going to do, they've already done it. Like there's no big thing because, and the worst of it is we know because we've seen the Marvels trailer. And we know Nick Fury's in it, and he's in charge of Saber.
Yeah, I like forgot he was in that.
Also, I want to say one of the core things, the biggest point of contention right now. Talos brought up, why can't we live on Earth or something along those lines.
Yeah, good scene. I like that scene.
Yeah, and I love that scene, but I have one big issue with it. Nick Fury's argument is there's not enough room for all of us, right?
Yeah.
And then he finds out that there's 1 million Skrulls.
So didn't know the whole time.
Right. So there's been 1 million Skrulls sharing the planet, no problem.
Yeah.
But we don't have enough room for everyone.
I thought he said, I didn't take it as we don't have enough room, like geologically and like with people. It's because like we don't have enough room because our planet is so petty right now in its current development, right? Like racism still is incredibly abundant.
It was meant to mean. I do think that's what it was meant to mean because he does reference how he was treated as a black man, like when he was a child.
Yeah.
So I do think that's how it was meant to be referenced. Mm-hmm. But the way that I took it was him simply being like, "There's no room for Skrulls. There's 1 million of them here."
Both. That's the issue. Is he says both. Like he says, there's no room, and also people are racist. Like,
that's exactly right. And it's like that shouldn't be an issue for shapeshifters, but it will be because they can't. I don't know Skrull biology, but I imagine they can't properly integrate into society and become humans over generations.
No,
right?
they have. That's it. They literally
they've done it.
Yeah, they've done it.
They've done it for what, 30 years?
I meant like, did their parts work? I don't know the Skrulls in the comics. Can they have kids?
If you go back to the flashback sequence when which by the way, I find it funny that Captain Marvel was a part of that. They keep referencing her, and she doesn't show up in one flashback in the 90s when they're all talking to them, but whatever.
Dude, it's weird.
Like you couldn't get Brie Larson. Brie Larson's cameoing in everything at this point, and you couldn't get her to show up.
Headlining car commercials, and you're not going to put her in this Disney Plus show.
That's what I mean. Like she's available. She's in Fast X as like a 5-minute character. Like
oh, is she? I know she's in it. I thought she was going to be like a main.
I assume she's a main character.
She's a main character who doesn't ever show up. Like,
wow.
She's pivotal to the plot, but she's actually only shows up for half of an action scene.
Say nothing else. I'm excited about this movie. More excited than I've been watching the show I've been watching. Secret Invasion.
What I'm saying is, the Skrulls making a point that they're going to shape change into the humans, and that is their new form forever. Like that's is what you're going to be, and we're not changing.
Actually fine then.
Yeah. I got that impression too, but I was like, why?
Yeah. But what I'm saying is, like, they've proven they can completely assimilate into society.
Right, exactly.
Because I wondered the same thing. Do the parts work? And then we see Nick Fury's wife just cutting food, acting like a normal human,
paying a mortgage,
lovey-dovey with her. I'm assuming that they get lovey. You know, like
that also pulled me right out because like she's so excited to see him. They're very happy. They reconcile. Clearly, they sleep together. And then, like, the next day, they have the conversation that they easily would have the first 2 minutes of his arrival.
Oh my God.
It's just for our benefit. It's the worst when people get on to, like, when like, someone gets picked up by their friend at the airport. And then they arrive at their destination. And then they have the expository conversation they would have easily had in the 45 minutes it would have taken to get from the airport to where they're going.
Exactly.
And I'm like, it's enough. It's enough. Like, stories have evolved to add expectations of real life, like, and when people have these conversations,
the way they're interacting God, it's miserable. It's not fun. Like the
No,
flirting
it's
stuff
not
was
fun.
very entertaining at first, and then it was immediately undercut by this. I grieved you. I mourned you.
Yeah.
I lost you. You came back and left. To think that Nick Fury left his wife to go
Right?
flaunt around in space and do nothing. Technically, like we don't
Yeah.
know.
He's
what he
done
was doing.
nothing as far as we
Well,
know.
and
It
it's
makes
like
the
the-
Far From Home scene a lot more sad. When he's just like, "Yeah, I'm just hanging out on the fake beach. Who's got my shoes?" And I'm like, "That was fun.
That was
I
a
got a
funny
wife at
scene.
home who's sad."
Oh my God.
I
And
didn't think
that
about
lost me for 5 years. And it's like, I get it. You're like, well, it's a slow burn. You're gonna get reveals as you go, and then
Yeah.
you'll understand why he would have done that. It's like, dude, but I need it now because I'm starting to hate the main character of this. Like, I'm very disinterested in him.
I need it now because we're stretching it out for the sake of stretching it out. It feels very
Yeah.
much like Falcon and Winter Soldier, which was like 6 episodes. It should have been like 3. It feels like Moon Knight, which was like 6 episodes. It should have been like 3.
You know,
I
all of
like
these
Moon Knight
show-
so much
Falcon
more
Winter
too.
Soldier. I
But-
had a lot more fun watching that
I had
show
way more
because-
fun watching Falcon and Winter Soldier.
But Falcon
Yeah.
Winter Soldier, the actors just I was having a lot more fun
when you get
watching
Sebastian
them interact.
Stan on screen, you get him with Anthony Mackie, and you're just cutting loose, man. You're just having fun telling jokes. You get, the Dora Milaje. Those scenes were so funny, so entertaining. Even the side character, even the new characters, like the other guy who I was told later is like supposed to be the other
new
Falcon. New
Yeah.
Falcon. Oh my God, he was super fun. He was like funny, and it was like a fun banter. And you get
Uh-huh.
this one, and it's like, Talos, you eating dog food? It's like, okay, that's
Now
kind
I'm
of
not
funny.
hungry.
British
Yeah,
food
also,
does look
like,
kind
The
of
funny thing
gross.
about that, actually, because Natalie's been watching this one with me, and she does that, and she looks over, wait, is he not going to finish his food? I'm like, well, apparently Nick Fury called it dog food, and he just
Well,
lost his appetite.
The funny thing is, I'm just like I'm so I don't know. Okay, so eating on set is tough because you have to do like 12 takes, and you don't want to eat the same food over and over again. It gets cold. It's disgusting. But sometimes you notice it, and sometimes you don't. For the most part, I've never noticed. This show, I'm hyper aware. And it's just like where they eat like one thing and then they go like, "Oh, I don't want to eat that again." And they take like the smallest sip I've ever seen a human being take of their lives. And I'm like, all right. Like it feels almost like amateur hour. Like it feels like the spy conversations are the most superficial I'm writing a spy show writing I've ever seen. And like I'm not I like it, but I wonder how much I like it because I want to like it, and because it's in the MCU, and because Samuel L. Jackson deserves a pilot show, like he deserves his own headlining stuff. But also, it's just it's beneath them. The writing is beneath them. Everyone in these scenes, like everyone loved the Rhodey Sam scene. Like, and when I say Sam, I mean Sam Jackson. So Fury Road scene where they're like talking in the restaurant. Good scene because good actors are saying pretty mid-level dialogue.
Yeah.
The issue I have with this, and I started to see why it didn't get as much promotion as you would have assumed it would have from the MCU, is because it really does feel like this was on the initial slate with the original idea where they kind of got mid-tier writers who aren't like on the movie levels because the thing with this, we all keep saying we don't want the same old MCU crap.
I'll take a little bit of the same.
But the thing is that the same level MCU crap works because you get good writers to make it work. So when they try different things like Winter Soldier, it's really good because you had really good writers on it. These shows are trying similar ideas where we get different ideas behind shows like slow burns, or we get big mysteries like WandaVision, or we get like a buddy cop action movie. Like they've all got their ideas, but we're not getting the good writers to do it. So
I'm
you're
so
getting
confused as how they gauge that, right? Like, is it Winter Soldier is because they tapped the Russos and that really changed they fundamentally changed the production. Then they made like a spy thriller with it. And they weren't relative unknown. They were very known, but as TV writers and producers and directors, right?
Yeah.
I don't know who they're tapping to do these. Like, I don't know. There's not like a crop of writers that is considered bad, Like, but fundamentally, it's like Marvel had magic in their hiring process for a while, and they just don't really have it right now. Or we're not seeing
the only
the
writers
fruits of it.
room out of all these shows that I'll say just did not know what they were doing, and it's quite obvious because they said it, was the She-Hulk writers.
Yes. Where
They
we literally can
we're
see
doing
them
a
physically in the show, and
Yeah.
they are like just screwing around.
Yeah. We're going to do a lawyer show, but I don't know how to write law, so we're not doing a lawyer show. What?
Don't say that out loud.
Don't ever
You know what
say
that-
that
you know
out
what
loud.
that
Dude, that goes back to my argument when like the Halo writers came out and the Resident Evil people came out and like
Yeah.
all and like even the Witcher people. Well, we didn't read the source material. Don't tell me that.
Yeah.
I
You know what that
knew it
says to me?
anyways, but
That says to me that they are untouchable. Like someone who says out loud, like it's like someone who is at their job, right? They're just working at their desk, and the boss comes by and goes, "Hey, man, how's the fifth quarter or the fifth quarter going? Fifth quarter, haha." And he's like, "Oh, I don't know what I'm doing, and I don't really care anyway."
You know, it reminds me of the Joker comic for Night Terrors, which I don't think either one of you have read, but he literally says
Hell
this
no.
to the boss. And it's so good. It's so good. And the boss literally comes over to him. He's like, "You're doing an amazing job." And he's like, "I have no idea what I'm doing."
Right?
Yeah,
But it's like
this-
he's the Joker. He gets away with it.
Yeah.
As
Here's the
opposed to,
thing.
like,
this is supposed to be our review of the show, and the show has kept us so kind of bored, uneasy at times, maybe a little interesting. We didn't even talk about what was the big cast member that was added to this. That was like a big, oh my god, Emilia Clarke is in this from Game of Thrones, and they killed her last episode.
I don't
Technically,
think they did.
no, they
I
didn't
don't think
kill
they
her.
did.
There's no way they killed her. Again, it was a big announcement, but we
like,
didn't
the
even
thing
mention
is,
it
this show
because
is so kind of meh that I'm like, maybe they did. Like, maybe they did.
Okay, let's talk about. You know what? Off of your point, Hudson. Let's talk about the first big thing. Did they? Okay, they haven't gone over this yet. The guy at the beginning. What is his name? The first actor who turned out to be a Skrull. What was the character?
Oh, Martin Freeman.
Yeah, Martin
Yeah.
Freeman. What was his character though? What's his name of his character? He's in both.
Oh, Ross?
Yeah.
Ross. Okay, so
Everett Ross or whatever.
is Everett Ross been a Skrull the whole time? Because they have not established where the real one was.
I
They
promise
sh-
they didn't. I promise they don't care. They don't. They don't know.
They
Like,
should
was
have
he a Skrull during
established
Black
that
Panther
so
2?
much sooner.
yeah,
I don't. Black Panther 2 might be a bad one.
like even just show him in one of the contraptions.
Yeah.
Like when Emilia Clarke looked over to the left and they made a big deal about that person, I didn't know who that was. That apparently is a Skrull.
Yeah.
Like I couldn't remember. I'm like, is that supposed to be someone in the show that I'm just not putting together who that is? That
Right.
should have been Everett Ross.
Yes. Well, and poor Maria Hill. How we were like, oh, thanks for being. I love special at the end of that episode when she dies, and they're just like special guest appearance by Kobe
Colby
Smulders.
Smulders.
And I'm like, oh, thanks. Well, thanks for being back in the show again. You're dead.
Yeah, and like, I don't feel like they killed Maria Hill because
I hope not, but like,
I really hope not, because how disrespectful to that character and to Kobe, who's been
Uh-huh.
doing this character for 12 years now, or 10 years,
right?
sorry,
And didn't have
11
anything
years.
to do in any of them.
Literally nothing, and
just
she's a
shows up.
decent actress. I mean, obviously, she was brought on because Whedon wanted her in it, and it was, it's a Whedon thing, but Kobe's fun, and Maria Hill's a fun character. God damn it, we didn't do S.H.I.E.L.D. in the MCU because S.H.I.E.L.D. was its own fringe TV show that I loved, that I was a huge fan of. And
Yeah.
this show, if it needed to be a spy thriller, god damn, it needed S.H.I.E.L.D. as its base.
Yes.
It-
I
really
honestly
did.
expected half the Shield cast to show up.
No, I mean, like, I
Like, no,
didn't.
but I'm saying the what? Because there's been rumors that a few of them are coming back.
They keep saying that
saying that. I don't
Chloe
believe it at
Bennett is
all.
coming back, and it's
Yeah.
not. It's literally the only thing that has been on my Twitter timeline. The only reason that I was like, oh man, I need to jump to watch a show other than for work, was that I don't want a Daisy Johnson reveal to be spoiled for me, because I really like that character and I really love that show. And then I watched this show and I'm like, dude, I don't want her to be in this.
The
Because
worst
she's
part
a
is I keep
fool.
getting the spoils of like the character that died last episode. I'm like, oh, is this someone important?
Yeah.
No, it's you never really established Maria Hill to be important. Everett
Well, and
Ross
I
was
like
more
Maria
important,
Hill.
and
I
he
think
was
Maria
the-
Hill is important. Maria Hill is she's in Spider-Man as a character. She's in S.H.I.E.L.D. for several episodes. And I think sometimes maybe like, I don't remember how much of an important character she was in S.H.I.E.L.D. She was only in a couple episodes, but like,
Wasn't really.
I remember her impact in that, and it like makes me feel like it's part of the main MCU, and it's just not. Like Maria Hill calls Phil Coulson to get them the helicarrier they use at the end of Age of Ultron.
Yes.
So that's like a real integral part of that final fight. There, and there's like a lot of little things like that here and there.
But that's all she really. She's like the cameo character, which is
Yeah,
what my
yeah.
problem is. Like she never, like even Nick Fury up to this point was the cameo character. He didn't do anything really until Captain Marvel. He had a little bit of a role in that one. Well, not a little bit. He was core to that movie
Yeah,
and
yeah,
stayed
yeah.
in it. But like he got that movie, now he's got the show. Maria Hill got to be the it's Maria Hill again.
Yeah.
Why would you kill his literal only across 10 years actual castmate in
Mhm.
the first episode? The only
Second.
one he
I
has
think that was the
active
second.
dialogue with, like a history with as his character, that is on screen, that is not in Avengers, that is someone we can afford because they did 30 years of television,
Mhm.
right? Why did you kill them off?
They've killed
Yeah.
one character every episode now. First was Everett Ross. Second episode
Yep.
was Maria Hill.
Maria
and the
Hill.
third episode's Gaia.
Yeah. But I
So
don't
who's
care
next?
about Gaia. So
I don't give a shit about Gaia, dude. And I
I
love.
care more that Amelia Clark joined the MCU to be murdered in the third
Oh my
episode. than I
god! Why
care
didn't we
about Gaia
save
dying.
her for
Same.
something? I
is-
was
that
so
is- that-
sad.
Well, that is true to form Phase 4, right?
Yeah.
Where they're like, "Hey, ladies and gentlemen, so and so is in the MCU to die."
Yeah.
It's like,
Cool.
if she
Feels-
did Game of Thrones, I doubt she was like, no, I don't want to be in anything more than this one show.
Hell no.
They
But
should have.
anyway.
Maybe they could have opened with like some semblance of the '90s, like instead of jumping to that flashback later, maybe have the flashback earlier that introduced Gravik as a child / like re-endears us towards Ben Mendelsohn's wife and Gaia, and like maybe they go on like a mission with '90s Nick Fury. Like maybe there's something there that opens it, and then you go into the spy thriller, and then you hear the name Gravik. It's like Gravik.
Yeah.
Now it's just like
It also
I
would have fixed
hate
the
that
pacing.
name now. I'm so annoyed by it because it's just like who
Who
this
cares? Like,
this
who is
little
this?
British dude. I don't give a flying word I can't say on the show about this little British dude
I
who's
already
just
heard that.
walking around sauntering around being like, I'm gonna change society. Everything's gonna be different. What
Yeah.
is that? What's this?
Well, and they're like, we're gonna like their plan is to kill everyone, like all the humans, and I'm like, this is your plan? It's pretty circuitous. Like,
Yeah.
you want to have like maybe a more direct plan. I don't know. It's just, you know what it is. The show is not engaging enough for us to forgive all the faults that it has,
Yeah.
and that's a shame. But hopefully it'll turn
'Cause, like-
around. We're at the halfway point, I think, of the show, and it's
Yeah.
like.
It's good enough that I want to watch it. I
gonna
want to
keep
see where
watching
it's
it.
gonna go.
Right.
But I don't want this to turn into I don't want to turn into Hassan in Flash season 9.
Right.
Where I could see nothing but the faults. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, and that's
No,
what
okay,
I'm trying to avoid.
let's-
I don't.
let me
wa-
go
I,
with
I
some
didn't want.
positives.
I didn't want
Yeah.
this review to turn into this, but I knew it was going to.
because
Yeah.
it
I
just
knew
felt-
we
it
were
felt like
all
while we
going
were
to
watching
pick
it.
on things.
I
Because
texted
there's-
the group chat. I texted our group chat, which we don't use for too much banter. We use it to like, hey, are we filming? And
Yeah,
I
to
just
plan out
said
the stuff so people know what to watch.
Yeah. at 11:32 p.m. 3 days ago, I said I might be super off base, but wow, Secret Invasion is hard to get through. Just boring as hell.
So
That's what I
honestly,
said.
I wanted to respond to you there, but I wanted to leave the group chat open so we could see the schedule.
Yeah, right.
Because I knew if I responded, you
No,
and I
we were
just
gonna go back and
fly
forth.
in.
Would've been the whole thing.
So here's what I'll say, because I want to say some positive. I know we're at the 30-minute mark, and the people have already the commenters who like the show have already come down our throats and are going to be
Well,
coming
that's
after
why I
our
wanted to
cameras
open this
week.
up with. I actually like the show, but there's
Here's-
so many. Like Sal said, there's so many glaring faults with it. Is the
Yeah.
problem?
Yeah. So
Yeah.
here's what I like so far. Visually, it's dark, but there's some really cool shots. There's some
Yes.
really cool shots. Action's not bad at all. Not
Yeah.
bad even a little bit. Samuel Jackson's new design, like Nick Fury, looks really cool. Like
I
you give
actually
him
hate it. I disagree.
Yeah,
with
I'm
that.
ready for it to be done.
Yeah, I want
I-
him to have the eye patch again. Get rid of. He looks like He looks like that fisherman down at the wharf that's been doing
Yeah,
this for
no,
like
no, no.
30
That's exactly what he
years.
looks like.
Yeah, he does.
Well, I like you gave
He
him
doesn't
some
even have
color
a
and some
patch anymore.
texture.
Why did he drop the eye patch?
I
Well,
don't
and I think
know.
that there's like a reason because he's not like there's no pretenses about him anymore. Like it doesn't matter. I would have liked that look followed with a reveal, you know, but whatever. You at least you're trying something different, you know. So there's that. Amelia Clark's fun. I don't think they use her very well, if I'm being honest, in this show just yet. Maybe they have like a big plan for her. There's 3 episodes left, and remember, all these MCU shows fundamentally changed by the 3rd episode, especially the ones that
yeah.
have 6-episode run.
That's
So this
true.
could just be an entirely different show in an episode. We could love it and talk about how great
Well,
it is for 10 years to come.
I mean, you're right, but that also goes back to our biggest problem with all of these Disney Plus shows: the pacing.
Yeah.
Because if this turns amazing in the next 3 episodes, where I don't even have any complaints anymore,
I-
my complaint will be, why did we have those first 3 episodes?
No,
Well, especially
I-
if it feels rushed at the end, because
Yeah.
it's like, well, you had
Right.
lots of room.
It
well, like the
can't
Moon
feel
Knight
rushed
finale.
at the
The
end.
Moon Knight finale felt rushed as hell. Like, why did we spend 5 episodes building to a 10-minute fight? What the?
Yeah. Because I loved Moon Knight. Like I wasn't on those reviews here, but I was like really enjoying myself watching it. And I was a little disappointed at the end, but overall, I liked the show. And then I watched the review and I was like, oh, the rest of my coworkers did not enjoy their experience with this one. Oh my God.
I keep bringing up Moon Knight because I do like the character of Moon Knight and I liked how it finale'd. I stand by my statement, and it's a statement I have with this show. We're spending way too much time getting to the point of
Here's
what's
the
going
thing,
on.
though. For you guys, you have like a Moon Knight base in the comics. I did not have a single thing other than people saying he's like the Batman of Marvel or whatever. Like people would say that. I did not have a
When the
single
bullshit
thing.
go.
So I really was thoroughly gripped. I was gripped by Oscar Isaac's performance. I was gripped by his supporting cast and their back and forth. Even his back and forth is two different characters. I really, really enjoyed it the whole time. With this one, I love Samuel Jackson. I do. And now it's not coming into my brain and into focus that like maybe he's not the greatest actor of all time, because in my brain I was like, Sam's really great. I just don't think he's in a lot, and the stuff he's in is really sometimes bad. Half of it's really
He's in
great.
a lot, way more.
He's
than
in
he
a
probably
lot
should
more
be.
than I.
He's like
realized
Nick
he did.
Cage. Yeah, like Nick Cage is in so much stuff.
Yeah,
He's like
Sam
Nick.
Jackson.
I thought you said Nick Cannon, and my brain was like the guy who has a bunch of kids who's in Wild and Out, the Nickelodeon guy. I just don't like. You reimagine the show. You bring Clark Gregg back. It's a Coulson, Maria Hill, Nick Fury show. And maybe eventually bring some supporting.
No, Talos.
Yeah.
You need Talos in that too. Otherwise, you'll lose the whole scroll aspect.
And Talos. But I just think it's funny. Me and my girlfriend stayed up to like 3 a.m. last night, just randomly rewriting some of the MCU. We were just like talking about like why Civil War doesn't work. And we talked about how do you fix Civil War, right? You do a soft rewrite of Age of Ultron. You put a movie in between that is a Captain America, like an actual true to form Captain America movie with an Iron Man through line in it. And then you can get into Civil War and it makes more sense because we need more emotions. But I'm not to get into that. But I think here's the same issue is that how do I fix this show? I fixed the show by laying so much more groundwork for this experience, right? Like if we're stuck with this budget and these actors and no MCU, like no Chris Evans, no Tom Hiddleston's, no real cameos, no real superheroes, right?
Yeah.
If we're stuck with it, then we have to lay the groundwork for relationships. We needed Nick Fury to have talked about Ben Mendelsohn and the importance of his characters before.
Yeah.
We needed them to have already failed, like a story that is them trying to find the Skrulls of planet. We needed that. We cannot pick up 30 years later and assume so much history because it's not working. We need these characters to know.
They're spending too much
and love each
time
other.
telling us what happened.
Yes.
That's
There's an old expression. It's called telling, not showing.
Yes.
It's what
And we've
visual
gotten a
mediums
couple
are
of
not supposed
flashbacks.
to do.
But like
Yeah.
we've got a couple flashbacks, and I feel like the reveal is going to be why they didn't find the home. Also, now that I think about that, so you mean to tell me Nick Fury fucked off and Captain Marvel fucked off?
Who's been
Right.
and Captain Marvel apparently is in space doing exactly what she said she was going to do.
She never died during the blip.
That's what I mean.
Yeah.
She went like, Rocket. I remember at one scene is like she is just in space helping planets. So
Yeah.
you mean to tell me she is out there doing it and never came back to the scrolls? Like, hey, I might have something.
Also, let
Yeah.
me be crazy here, right? Nobody knew they were gonna bring Thanos back, like they were gonna kill Thanos or whatever, bring everybody back. You're telling me in the 5 years she didn't gather the scrolls that were left and took them to a planet with half the population that they used to have? Like,
Yeah.
or we just
anything?
revealed them on Earth. We lost half our population.
Oh my God, we could have done that in a
Yeah.
heartbeat, you know?
Yeah.
Like there were so many different things that could have been done. Instead, we know that Nick Fury was on on Earth going, motherfucker, and then he dies and turns to dust.
Yep.
Whoa, cool reveal that we know that's for sure our Nick Fury.
Yeah.
It's just like, the only character we have history with that is still on the show is Nick Fury, is Samuel Jackson, and they're not using the history that we know about them. Instead, they're using this vague mystery we don't know about him, and it's
Yeah, about
making
him
it
being
fundamentally miserable to watch. I want him to be a
What if the
character
reveal
that
is
we've
that it's
been
just
around.
not him? The
I
real
mean,
Nick Fury is dead.
It
or
hadn't
something.
even occurred to me for some reason, and I think it's just because the show isn't like getting me really gripped.
It's not smart enough
And-
to do that.
But it could be that like there's two Nick Furies walking around, and like the reason why he's so inconsistent is because like one is doing one thing and other's doing another thing. But I wonder if that's the case. I fear. I mean, like we've already seen it because Gravik did impersonate him in the first episode, so we do know that he is capable of doing that. I think that the reason why he doesn't have an eye patch and why we're gonna get one Nick Fury is because like at the end of the show he'll put the eye patch on and be officially Nick Fury again.
Shield will be back or something like that. I don't know.
I think Shield's over. I think it's all gonna be Saber,
Sword, whatever.
It should be Sword, but it's.
I didn't understand that. I'm not a comic book guy. I assumed the space thing was called Sword, and he called it Saber, and I was
it
like,
was called Sword. I think Fox owned it, and I think before they, when they introduced
Before they
it, were still
merged.
working it out.
yeah. Whatever, man. I just
All right, let's go ahead and wrap this one up. We've talked about 3 episodes. The reason we haven't talked in core about the episodes themselves is because we did. Like, there's not that much. We talked about the deaths. That's pretty much all that really happened in the talks between the characters. So we got over all the stuff. But we're going to be back next week with another discussion about Secret Invasion. We're all enjoying it.
Yeah,
there's just so much wrong with it that, and I really do feel like it's just old Disney Plus MCU.
Yeah.
Like, I really feel like it's kind of like, what was it? Ant-Man Quantumania, where it was kind of like that weird phase 4 where they were trying something new that didn't work. So even though at that point, Kevin Feige was already like, yeah, we're going to be fixing and changing things. That was already coming out. Because same situation with the DC, where like James Gunn's like, I'm fixing the DCU. But remember, we got Flash, Blue Beetle, and Aquaman, and I didn't touch those.
Yeah, he's very careful to say that out loud. Like, I had nothing to do with those. But also, Blue Beetle's definitely in the new universe. Unless
apparently it's that good, but that's a different discussion when that finally drops.
Right, I believe that.
And you also told me Flash was the greatest movie ever.
Exactly.
Dark Knight.
I will never believe another thing they ever tell me.
Yeah. Well, that's guys for like some guesses and stuff of things to come, theories. Obviously, for me, Rhodey's a Skrull, and then Gaia's not dead, and neither of those are.
Well, they showed her when he shot her. I thought it was the head. I'm like, she's dead. Then they showed her chest, but she's not dead.
Gaia's not dead. Rhodey was definitely a Skrull, 100,000%.
Well, the fact that he doesn't want to agree or work with Nick Fury, and
he calls him Nick.
Oh, wait,
he calls him Nick. He's like,
Ah.
sorry, Nick. He calls him Nick in the thing, and then Fury goes to Ben Mendelsohn. I have an idea of a high-level government member that has that is potentially a Skrull. I need you to do it. I think he's talking about. He's talking about Rhodey.
I mean, I thought it was him, but just for the reason of, one, we need a character that's super high level that we know to turn out to be a Skrull, so we can question how long they've been a Skrull, because you already killed Everett Ross. Because that would have been great to have him in the show. Imagine Martin Freeman working with him the whole time.
Yeah,
only to discover that he was actually a Skrull since
agree.
Black Panther 1. What if we reveal that he was a Skrull in Wakanda forever? Like,
he can't be an evil Skrull. Then he's got to be a good guy Skrull.
Not necessarily.
Then where is he? Like,
then I don't care.
But like, so my assumption was that it had to be him, but I didn't even think about the Nick thing or the connection to him saying.
Yeah, no, he calls him Nick.
Because I think part of the problem I'm having, like, Nick figured it out. How do I put this together? Is because we also, all of us, like the problem with Gaia, was that the reveal for Gaia or not? Because we already knew what was going to happen.
Yeah.
I think that's my biggest problem. Where are the reveals happening? Because I've already figured out half your plot. Like, so when I already figure out what's going on, the reveals don't hold the weight. So it's like, oh, Gaia is a traitor to Gravik. Yeah, figured that out a while ago.
Oh no, my heart is broken. Gravik was such an endearing villain. How dare you have someone betray him? He was just trying to be the messiah of his people. No, dude, he's like a petty thug. Sorry, my language. He's
destroy the world.
language, but he's literally like just a douche. He's completely uncharismatic.
Yeah.
This actor, I don't know who he is. I've never seen him in anything, and I truly don't care to. I'm so disinterested in his performance here. I have never been more like, what are you here for, dude?
Right.
Like, this character sucks, and you're not making it better.
No.
Sorry, guys. A little intense.
So anyway, we're going to wrap this up. If you like this stuff here at this channel, if you want it, if those are wondering, we've been a little sparse on our videos simply because with the writer's strike, not a lot's going on. But we got stuff finally. So we're here. Secret Invasion, the Superman show. We're going to be doing Turtles Watch. Like, subscribe, hit that notification bell. We'll be talking to you all soon.
Bye.